Callum and our communications coordinator, Kelly Essig. We are going to record this webinar this evening for teams who are unable to participate. But thank you so much for all of you who are joining us this evening. We will do our best to wrap before 8 p.m. But please feel free to answer questions. We do have the question box open as we go through this. As Kevin Ross mentioned at our previous FRC briefing, there were some opportunities for first teams across all 4 of our programs to co-brand a bit more with FIRST and Washington FIRST Robotics in particular. So this evening we're going to cover a couple of key points and then spend some time in sharing some tools and resources that Kelly has put together for teams that can be accessible across the Washington FIRST Robotics website. We also have a couple of members of teams that participate in the Pacific Northwest District, but they don't reside in Washington State. Welcome. We love you, and this information should be very much applicable to you as well, whether you are, your team is in the state of Oregon or in the state of Alaska. Please feel free to use this information. We are happy to work with you to customize it to Oregon or Alaska if you need a little bit of help, because we are all in this together. So the last comment I will mention before I pass it on to Kelly, I believe teams have received some communication from FIRST over the last couple of weeks. FIRST has gone through a robust exercise in recognizing the importance of communications and branding. And it's been a process that has started unveiling in terms of refreshing the look and the feel of their website, in which we would encourage you to go on if you've not had a chance to, and think about it from a consumer standpoint, not just a mentor or a coach or a member of a team. And then secondly, they have also recognized that FIRST has, in many respects, not done itself a great favor in celebrating and advocating for team individuality, which is hugely important, but they also have realized that we have teams all around the globe that love doing FIRST and robotics, but there is not a simple connection when you talk about, the global rotor gators, or, an FRC team or an FTC team or even an FLL team, that it is affiliated with FIRST. And so they are advocating and encouraging state partners and program partners, along with teams, to recognize the value and the importance of co-branding, celebrating the team's individuality and the name identity and the colors, but also doing some subtleties that makes the community, and the community may be the media, it may be potential funders, it may be companies that can bring volunteers or mentors to your team, it might even be your fellow educators or your neighboring schools in your district, who can recognize and celebrate that there is a robotics team at ABC High School, but that robotics team at ABC High School is one team of many teams, and it gives us a bigger footprint. So FIRST has also changed their name, and this is subtle, but it is important. They are no longer US FIRST. they are first because of the international footprint that they have. So as you will see through this presentation, we reference communication as first, not U.S. first. So important subtleties that we ask all teams to be mindful of, and really use this as an opportunity to engage your students, particularly students that are involved in your team outreach and communication and branding efforts. I think they'll be pretty excited about some of the tools that we are in the process of developing. So, Kelly?
Thanks, Erin. Hey, thank you all for taking time out of your evening tonight to join us on this webinar, and we really are excited about the information that we're going to be delivering to you tonight. So, again, thank you.
We're trying to get the PowerPoint to work. Bear with us.
Hang.
Maybe just go this way. There we go. Just
okay. So tonight we're just going to go over a little bit what is branding and communications, and why is branding and communications important to your team. And then we're also going to give you resources for your team to utilize. And as Erin has already explained, that if we do have other states listening in tonight, and you are more than welcome to adopt this information and these tools for your state. So please feel free to do so. So what is branding and communication? Branding helps your team to build a brand or strengthen your current one. It helps to identify who you are and what you stand for. And communications is what you use, or what we use, to tell your team's story and to gain and maintain support throughout your community. It's so important to be able to give yourself a brand, and then to be able to communicate your story to, as Erin has already suggested, give your communications to your potential donors, your potential students that might join, your fellow educators, whomever it might be. So again, the importance of branding. Why are we doing this, and why do we care about it? Well, co-branding with your team, to co-brand with Washington First Robotics, it helps you to celebrate your individual team identity, but identifying yourself to a larger community, part of a larger footprint, as Erin has already suggested. So the type of branding that we will be changing to, and what we is coming down from first, I'm going to highlight very briefly on this brand checklist. And a lot of this information we'll be showing you later in our communications toolkit as we get towards the end of this presentation. But we do have, Washington First does have approved logos that we want to maintain consistency of our brand through all of our teams. And you can see a couple of the logos that have been approved that we will be using, and you are more than welcome to use on your website, and we encourage you to do so on your website, in your social media, wherever you might be posting or advertising your team. The other logo that you see on the screen is the new First logo. And again, as Erin has mentioned, that you will no longer see the U.S. First, it is just First.
The other thing about this logo, and again, only graphic designers pick this kind of stuff up, but it is a slightly refreshed look of the font, a little bit more modern. The logo with the symbols are a little bit refreshed as well. The other important thing, and I know that this will be a work in process for a lot of veteran teams, but First is doing away with the acronyms. So you will no longer refer to FRC as FRC. You will refer to it as First Robotics Competition, First Tech Challenge, First Lego League, and First Lego League Junior. Some of this material is still in the process of being rolled out by First. It is a process. First Robotics Competition Program, they are going to roll this out for this season, but for the other 3 programs, of which they're in the midst of going on right now, the official rollout will be next fall. So just something to be mindful of. And again, it's going to be a process of education, right?
Right, and we don't expect all of you to be utilizing all of this at once. It's for us as well at Washington First that it is a process for us as well, and we will slowly be changing and turning over to and utilizing the new logos, etc. So again, getting back to our brand checklist, we want to make sure when we refer to Washington First, we refer to us as Washington First Robotics, that we never shorten our name. We always use our full name. It helps people to recognize us, and it helps to reduce confusion in the public. The other thing is that first, whenever you are printing or communicating the word first in your communications, it should always be uppercase and it should be italicized, and you should always use the font Arial. And again, I'm throwing out a lot of this information, but all of this is on our website and the resources, and I will show you in a bit. Again, as a general guideline, the first time you use the word first, you should use the registered trademark sign right next to it. Okay, now we're going to see how we would implement this as a team. So your team should already be utilizing different varieties of communication. Some of those might be a website, a social media, Facebook page, maybe a Twitter site. If you produce t-shirts and stickers, that type of thing. Anytime that you produce any form of communication, your team name and your logo should be at the top of everything that you produce, because that way everybody will know who you are and what your brand is, okay? Underneath your team name and logo should always be the following subheading. We want, again, this is a part of the co-branding, identifying your individual team, that you are a part of a larger organization, and that organization is Washington First Robotics. And so your little subheading underneath all of your name and logo would always read a Washington First Robotics team. Again, it's allowing people to identify your team, your individual team, and celebrating your identity, but knowing that you are a part of a larger statewide organization, and then also a part of an international organization as well. Okay, so this is where we're going to get to some of the information that you'll be finding on our website. We have created and provided a communications toolkit for all teams to utilize. And the following resources are going to be available to your teams, and I said Washington teams, and again, other states may utilize and edit this information to meet their needs in their individual states if you so desire. So some of the information that you'll be seeing in the Resource Team Communication Toolkit tab will be links to the program overview and the program volunteer flyers. We've provided you with a sample press release so that you as an individual team and your communications partner within your team can reach out to your local media to share your events and to share the exciting news that your teams are involved in. We really, really urge you to do this, because we at Washington State Robotics can reach out on your behalf, but we have found that a more personal invitation from an individual team to your local media, whether that media be your local newspaper, whether it be a local blogger, maybe it's a small radio station, etc. It will come a lot more stronger from coming from your individual community and reaching out to your media. So we really encourage you to do so. Like I said, I have put together a sample press release so you do not have to create something out of the blue. I've got it all created for you. The next items that you'll be seeing in the toolkit are the logos that we just showed you on the previous slide. And there's also a Washington First Robotics Overview PowerPoint so that you can use that as outreach in looking for potential new students, maybe getting your letting your principal, your building administrators know what's happening with your Washington First team. However you want to use that, we are providing this information to you. And the last thing are frequently asked questions. We know that we meet so many people all the time, and they seem very interested, but you know they want to know, how do I get involved in a team, or how much does it cost to get involved? Well, we have created those sample questions, and we've come up with some answers so that you can show that and utilize that in your communications toolkit for your own individual team. Okay, so now I am going to show you where you can actually see the toolkit. The toolkit is located on our website, Washington First Robotics, underneath resources, and it's underneath the Team Communications Toolkit. So this is the Team Communications Toolkit page. And on this page, as I've just previously gone over, you're going to see links to your program flyer. Let's say you're going to Barnes & Noble and you're going to do an event there. You need to have some flyers there to introduce. Sorry for that. You will have access to have this at your fingertips for you to use in whatever event or venue or that you go to. The next thing is your volunteer flyer. We love our volunteers, and we are always needing to have more volunteers. And we encourage you to have this at all of your events, at your locations, at your schools. If you have a STEM fair at your school, this is an incredible tool that you can use to advertise and to get the word out that we Washington First Robotics and your team, we love our volunteers. And here is an example of the sample press release. So again, this is your team name and logo would be on the top of this press release. And underneath would be the subheading that we've already gone over tonight, a Washington First Robotics team. Again, identifying you with a larger organization. And again, you would just format your press release similar to what I have had done here. You give your story a slug or a main headline, and it's going to be an attention-grabbing headline, very brief. We don't want to tell the whole story right there, but just the gist of the story. And then we want right away in your first paragraph to get the answers to who, what, where, why, and how of your announcement, your news, or your event. Because if news organizations don't get that information right from the very beginning, they're going to toss our press releases, and we don't want them to do that. We want them to get excited about what we are doing so that they can come to our events and they can highlight all the cool things that you guys are doing. Okay? And so I'm not going to take time right now to go through all of this, but this is there for you to review at your spare time.
Kelly, talk for a minute about timeline, because media does have deadlines. So give a gist of approximately when local or community newspapers, when their deadlines are?
Thanks, Erin. It's really important to know when the local newspapers' deadlines are. They have deadlines, and usually they're maybe a week to a week and a half before your print date. Now, if it's a weekly newspaper, like if it's only published once a week. If you're dealing with a paper that is published daily, what I would suggest is go to your individual, newspaper, whether it be the Issaquah Reporter, the Sammamish Reporter, the Walla Walla Bulletin, whatever it might be, and you would contact them or look on their website to see when their deadlines are for their stories. Because if we don't get our stories into them by their deadline, there's no way that they can cover what we're doing. So that's really important.
The other tip that I might offer is build relationships with your local media. They are human, just like all of us. And a real helpful step that your team might take, and I know many of you have already done this, but identify in advance at the beginning of your season 2 or 3 spokespeople for your team. That way, if anyone from the media contacts you or shows up at an event, whether it's a community outreach event or a competition, you immediately are showing you're prepared and organized, and you have this all rehearsed, right? So again, this takes a little bit of time, but media and communication does not happen by accident, and I know that we have a lot of teams that play in the Pacific Northwest district that are really good at this, and we just want to spread that expertise so that all teams are comfortable with this as well.
And I would also suggest, if you ever do get a reporter that comes to your event, your school, whatever you are highlighting, I would say your spokesperson, your communication team of your communications team within your team should send a follow-up thank you email. That is so vitally important. Again, as Erin has said, that we are building relationships, and reporters, they get inundated with press releases all the time, and we just want you to stand out. We want to have you stand out, and by sending a follow-up thank you for coming and coming to our Girls Generation event at the Auburn Mountain View High School. We really appreciated you telling our story, and we look forward to continuing our relationship with you. And then you would just say, thank you very much, and sign your team's name. So I would highly encourage you to do that as well. Okay. So as we are beginning to wrap up, and I did not go through every single one of those items on that team toolkit, but you will see that you're going to have our logos are there, the PowerPoint that you can utilize in outreach is there, and at the very bottom of that screen there are frequently asked questions that you can individually go and just go to the question that you're interested in, and then the answer will pop up. So again, wrapping up, we're very excited about this new rollout that FIRST has updated and rebranded and sharpened, and we are as excited as Washington FIRST Robotics to be able to team and co-brand with you all. And again, to allow your individual team to continue shining in your individuality, but also to encourage you to join and co-brand with Washington FIRST, because it is a bigger footprint for your team as being a part of this international organization. So again, we are a partnership, and we are here to assist you whatever needs you have. You can reach Erin or I on the website. Our emails are there. And again, if you have any questions with communications or branding of your team in Washington State or even out of state, we would be more than happy to help. And I see that we have a question. Will there be a brand at first? We'll set out that they would like us to use. Most people don't know what first is.
Really good. Yes, welcome to the $100 million Best Kept Secret. I was even at an event this afternoon with our Oak Harbor FRC team, and so many people had never even heard of FIRST, and that is the root of the problem that we are working to help solve. Communication is really important, and messaging and talking about what is the FIRST acronym. To get to that specific question, I have not seen yet from FIRST an easy graphic or presentation, messaging, branding that we can spread out to all of you so it becomes very easy to roll off the tongue. What is FIRST? FIRST is for the inspiration and recognition of science and technology, right? Even talking about that in a presentation or even in a PowerPoint, people stop and pause and go, wow, that's great. So stay tuned. The marketing department of FIRST is rolling this out in pieces, and we want to be very proactive here because we know this is important for the teams, and it's important for the sustainability of your teams, as well as helping to encourage and engage more young people across the Pacific Northwest to get excited about STEM, and they do it through the 4 programs that FIRST facilitates. So, any other questions? Okay.
Thank you very much for your time this evening, and we look forward to continuing this communication conversation.
We'll put this PowerPoint up on the website, and again, our Oregon and Alaska friends, please feel free to utilize this, and if there is an opportunity for us to customize and work with you to do this, to be respective of Oregon and Alaska, we are happy to do so. Okay? Thank you. Have a great evening. Bye.
Bye-bye.